Hi, I'm Aura, and there might be other people here, but I can't tell who they are yet. And I'm the host of Collective Mind. I'm here with Primal Pack, and we're gonna do another Sanders Sides reaction. So we're reacting to, I think this is the first of the Sanders asides, so it's the smaller ones in the middle of the big, like longer, plottier ones. And this is Are There Healthy Distractions? So here we go.
I suppose I could watch the Goldbergs.
I feel like a man again. Masculinity is a prison.
Why do I pay for a membership if I still gotta watch the ads? I'm switching streaming platforms. I don't know, guys. Unless our problem is a hungry alligator. A remote possibility for a Florida-dwelling man who never leaves his house. I don't think running away is a good way to solve anything.
Tell that to you from 20 minutes ago.
Roman, be nice.
Oh, is that not nice? I didn't mean to. I agree with your new opinion, Virgil, and the movie we're about to watch is going to demonstrate just how bad running and hiding can be.
That is, if the film you submitted received the most votes.
I have a feeling it did.
Now, I may not have voted for Frozen, Roman, but I'm still rooting for your happiness.
Oh my goodness, 100% of the votes went to Frozen! Yay! A landslide victory!
Go, Roman!
Falsehood, I did not vote for Frozen. You don't get a vote because you didn't wear a onesie.
I don't wear those anymore, they're too childish.
No onesie, no vote?
Similarly, I am skeptical about whether Thomas has anything to gain from a children's picture that he has already seen.
Too childish? Nothing to gain. Thomas is in a bad place, Logan. What would you have him watch? There Will Be Blood?
A bad place? Thomas is at home.
And home is where the heart is. How can Thomas feel BAD with his inner DAD?
So, I am gonna generally validate the concept of like watching and otherwise consuming like comforting, safe things when you're struggling. Like that can be a really good coping mechanism. And a lot of those that work for a lot of people is to like go back to things that have been comforting for a long time, like that started out being comforting in childhood. So it's not like weird or like silly or bad or anything like that to like find childhood things comforting when you're struggling, you know? Or even if you're not struggling, just to find it comforting anyway. And especially a lot of like kids movies and kids TV shows are intentionally made in such a way that they have things to offer for adults because the people making those movies and TV shows know that there will be a lot of adults watching them with their kids, you know? So they don't want adults to be just like bored out of their minds. Yeah, that's my first thought.
I can think of a few ways. What I've been trying to get at is, do you really think a distraction is the most helpful thing right now?
Hey, Thomas, I didn't know you were in this movie.
Roman, stop.
Some psychologists might be more inclined to call a distraction in this context refocusing or redirecting. In a situation like this one, in which there presently does not seem to be an action that Thomas can take to address his feelings without exacerbating the problem, temporarily redirecting his attention to something good or neutral can be beneficial.
That is a really common thing, something we've talked about like with our therapist before and have learned about in psychology classes and stuff. Redirecting is also a common task for psychological service dogs, something that Charlie has some experience with for us. And like it's generally, like Logan said, just the idea of like if there aren't productive things to do about it right now, or if the productive things to do about it are too hard right now, because that's also a possibility, just redirecting and like finding something distracting, redirecting to something else in order to do some like self-soothing basically makes it possible to come back to those things later in a better mindset and more rested and things, you know? Or sometimes, like, it's especially helpful with things that there isn't really anything you can do about, or you're already doing all the things you can do about it, and there's not, like, it doesn't just go away. Like, if you have a lot of anxiety symptoms, for instance, and you're already doing the things that you know to do for it, like maybe you're in therapy and taking some anxiety meds or something, and you did those things already, like you're on top of those things, but you still have symptoms because that's how that works for a lot of people. This would be one of the, like, healthy coping mechanisms for that. So, yeah.
And who among us could forget the absolute bop that is this weird ice cutting song?
I don't know, Roman. I think this song is pretty cool.
Oh, look out.
What? I'm just saying it's a chilled out groove.
Oh.
I might need you to leave if you don't stop.
And from this point on, no more Nordic-inspired numbers.
The sooner we confront the problem, the sooner we can leave this mess behind us.
Like these ice cutters are just frickin' leaving this child behind them? Whose kid is he? Why does no one notice they're leaving him?
Not necessarily, Virgil. Some things need time. Like evolution.
Okay, but how does watching a movie help?
Externalization. It's a key feature for many types of distraction. Externalization means giving one's attention to a sensation outside of one's own body. It's helpful because it can be much easier to give your focus to something than it is to actively take your focus away from something.
Right.
Very true.
Hence Frozen. Thomas is going to be seeing Frozen 2 for the first time tomorrow, and I think he should focus on that. He just needs something to look forward to.
Hi, I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs. I love you, Olaf.
I also love you, Olaf.
Cuties, I'm gonna keep you.
Ah, you're joking, right? No, you're mine now.
The heart is not so easily changed,
No, it isn't.
but the head can be persuaded.
Can it, though?
You must learn to control it. Fear will be your enemy.
So you're saying lock her away forever because she's dangerous? Nah, nope. See what you did there? You're making her fear her powers. I just warned you about that.
I've started talking
No
to the
kidding.
pictures on the walls. Hang in there, Joan.
Joan!
Joan.
Just watching the hours tick by.
She better stop with that TikTok sound. It's making me way too aware of the passage of time.
Do you have to go?
You'll be fine, Elsa.
But you two won't, am I right? They're gonna die at sea. I sleep in the bub.
Did I screw everything up?
No, I threw out your vote so you couldn't do that.
No, I mean, are we making the right decision here?
Okay, I hear you. Frozen is one of the newer Disney movies. I miss the hand-drawn animation.
So, interrupting Roman's whole spiel, because I just realized, like, while this episode is going to be mostly probably more about general mental health and coping skills and stuff, and less specifically about DID, there is a DID thing I just realized I could point out, which is the general thing that comes up in a lot of Sanders sides of it is very, very common in most systems for alters to regularly disagree about how to handle things. For alters to have different coping mechanisms that help them, and to think that other people's coping mechanisms are silly, and like all those things. It's very, very common for alters to be different enough from each other that they would have very different thoughts and perspectives on things. So these kinds of like arguments would make perfect sense to me in a system context. And again, I don't think I said this at the beginning. We do know that Sandersides is not meant to represent DID. It just accidentally does it very well anyway. And it is a popular series that a lot of people have seen that does tie into DID concepts really well. So and we like it, so we like reacting to it. So that is why we react to it with a DID lens, essentially. Do you have any thoughts so far, Primal Pack? Okay.
As much as the next side, but this movie was an instant classic when
No! Should Thomas be staying home right now?
Well, Virgil, Thomas made his decision, and I think we should all just try to settle into it.
How are you telling me to settle into something right now when you've taken your sweet time to settle into things that you were uncomfortable with in the past?
I just think we should all just try to relax.
You do realize who you're talking to, right?
Virgil, how many times has our response to a difficult decision been half committing to one option and subsequently panicking about whether that option is our best option until it's too late for Thomas to change his mind?
Are you actually asking me that question? I'm genuinely asking because I can't tell. Do you want me to? I can count them out.
No.
7,430.
No.
You're just so literal. I don't.
No, Patton's right. We need to try to be resolute. The decision has been made.
For years I've roamed these empty halls. Why have a ballroom with no balls?
Nope. I'm an adult, so that's not funny. Wait, Hans is tricking Anna into believing that he's in love with her, but she's not around, so why did he make that face?
Yeah, you're right. The only explanation for it is that this is his evil plotting face.
I've been searching my whole life to find my own place. And maybe it's the party talking or the chocolate fondue.
Oh man, yeah, I'm like so f***ed up on chocolate fondue. I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
Nothing like I've never known before. Love's an open door.
Is something wrong, Patton?
I just realized Anna falls in love so fast because most people have shut her out her whole life.
Oof. And then the first person to give her attention since she lost her parents is actually just taking advantage of her.
There's no way she's coming out of this situation without trust.
That is the most common issue that people with that situation have. Because people who like to take advantage notice how easily that person will swoon to them or pay attention to advances. Which is why people who try to push things or rush things or love at first sight and stuff usually goes wrong, and that's why a lot of people turn bitter. And it's not a bad thing to still double check all of your shit.
Yeah.
Even if people don't pay attention, because it's really easy to run into shit like that.
Definitely.
But there's no way that, like, Virgil being like a trauma holder type thing, there's no way he would not predict that, but also not be upset at them for not seeing the signs. Kind of thing.
It's hard because it feels like Anna has a very specific combination of having been very isolated for a long time, but still being a very optimistic person, partly because a lot of the things that kept her isolated don't really feel like intentional, really. Like her parents dying obviously wasn't intentional, and she doesn't think that Elsa is ignoring her like to hurt her, so she doesn't think people have bad intentions. She doesn't have like a history of thinking people are specifically trying to hurt her because of the way that her like trauma and stuff happened. So she went into this like party basically having been very, very isolated for many years, and because it was years at that point, right? It must have been. Yeah, because they were kids when their parents died, right? I think so. But either way, it was a long time no matter what. And also being optimistic that as soon as like any opportunities happen, they're gonna go well, and that people are generally good people and stuff like that. Like she thinks good things about people and life and stuff in general, and is very desperate for any type of connection, any type of attention from anybody. So yeah, it unfortunately made her a very easy target.
Issues.
The snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen.
Except for the footprints behind you. Hey, yeah.
What if this just makes things worse? Don't let them in, don't let them see.
So, what's happening now with her? Is she...
What if he thinks we're avoiding him? And that just makes him more mad at Thomas. He'll probably figure that Thomas isn't showing face because of him. He might have been an idiot back in the day, but he's not anymore.
She really shouldn't let go of any more of her clothing, that's for sure. She's gonna freeze to death.
If he does think that way, and if he does get more angry, well then, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Or maybe we should try to cross the bridge while it's still sturdy, instead of trying to cross a crumbling bridge later.
What about a bridge?
If the bridge is crumbling later, then it's because the violent storm that's out right now damaged the bridge. We shouldn't try to cross the bridge until the storm blows over. We need to make like Elsa and let it go. Lie low in our kingdom of isolation. Come on, Patton, don't go for the low-hanging fruit.
There's a storm out tonight? If so, an outdoor social gathering seems ill-advised. It's for the best that you stayed home. Do you think this ice castle has a lavatory?
Ice toilet!
Or a bed?
Ice bed!
This place sounds awful.
Kill your reindeer.
Thing with the reindeer.
That's a little outside of nature's laws.
This thing with the reindeer? Outside of nature's laws?
He definitely f***s the reindeer.
Oh.
Oh, Anna. If only there was someone out there who loved you.
If only there was someone out there who loved you. You meddled with the vote to ensure that we would watch this, and yet you're the one constantly making fun of it.
Look, this is how I show my love. Something that's always bothered me with this movie is that an act of true love will save Anna's life. And we learn that that true love doesn't have to be romantic love. So why doesn't Olaf, nearly sacrificing his life to comfort Anna because he cares more about her than himself, count as an act of true love? He even says some people are worth melting for. Like, bruh.
Take care of my sister.
Oh, you've already done a good job of that yourself, Elsa.
I bet he's talking about you right now.
Thomas talked about him to other people.
We're all gossipy bitches sometimes.
No, there's nothing wrong with talking. Sometimes you just need to air things out or get a second opinion.
But what if he's telling the story wrong and misrepresenting Thomas to everybody at the party? Everyone likes him. He could turn everyone against Thomas by painting him as some unsympathetic, judgmental jerk.
If Thomas's friends immediately and uncritically accept the first negative thing they're told about Thomas as a fact without first pursuing his perspective on what happened, then I'm doubtful that those friendships would have lasted under any circumstances.
Oh. This is extremely true. And people who are willing to believe stuff like that immediately, especially in an existing like relationship of any kind where you've known someone for a while and you like just believe something like that immediately without talking to them at all and without any evidence, generally speaking, like there are situations where like extreme enough situations where it makes sense to like take precautions and take something really seriously if you hear something about someone, even if you've known them for a long time. But vast majority of like day-to-day situations are worth talking through with the person that they're about, you know?
Also, if our combative compatriot were to slanderously misrepresent Thomas to that extent, then maybe that's not a friendship Thomas should try to hold on to.
True.
Maybe not. If he lied on purpose, but you only see things from your perspective, and your perspective is your eyeballs looking out, away from you, and that makes it a lot harder to see your own flaws, or where you went wrong, or... Oh, sweet Frank Iero.
What is it now?
Maybe you were in the wrong. Maybe you were an unsympathetic, judgmental jerk. Just think about it.
Like I have a choice.
When Rico brought up that he used to not support gay rights, maybe you shouldn't have immediately started angrily interrogating him because he used the past tense and he trusted you enough to share a history that he wasn't proud of with you. And sure, maybe he wouldn't have gotten around to some of the stuff you wanted to know about on his own, but things might have gone smoother if you just calmly asked later. And even though you had a right to feel angry, maybe you shouldn't have taken your anger out on him because he's right, he is a different person now. And attacking a person for opinions they don't have doesn't really do anybody any good. And even though he was being kind of snobby when he told you that your behavior is unacceptable, you still shouldn't have fired back, oh yeah, like me kissing a man is unacceptable, because again, he doesn't feel that way anymore. And he's always been supportive and comfortable around you and your boyfriends, and now maybe we ruined a good friendship because we couldn't see past his past and we put the final nail in the coffin by skipping out on the party.
Thomas, Virgil, please do me a favor and name 5 things that you can see.
Staircase. Impending doom.
Olaf.
A future
This
without
is a
friends.
grounding
Lamp.
exercise.
Blinds.
Pants. Now 4 things that you can feel. Pants.
A bad feeling.
Couch.
Wall.
Hair. 3 things that you can hear.
Frozen heart.
Olaf.
The fan.
The ice machine, for some reason. 2 things that you can smell. Clean shirt.
The deodorant Thomas put on because he was gonna go out tonight.
Oh. And 1 thing that you can taste.
A sour taste in my mouth, probably left over from those reheated Thai noodle leftovers.
Your mind has been figuratively traveling through time and space, from unpleasant memories to worst-case scenarios, both of which take place elsewhere. That cognitive commutation can be harmful because there's often not much that you can do in the here and now to resolve the issue. What I just had you do a moment ago was an exercise to remind you that you are here now, in your apartment, not somewhere else, dealing with something else. You are safe.
That is generally what grounding exercises are meant to do. That is a really common grounding exercise. But grounding exercises are typically supposed to be just like reminding you of where you are and what you're doing and making you feel more present in some way. And they very, very often use like the major senses of like touching a certain texture or smelling a certain, like smelling peppermint helps us a lot with grounding, stuff like that. But it, like in the context that we see it the most often, it's grounding from like flashbacks or dissociation. But grounding can also be helpful in a context like this when it's like future focused anxiety, what if scenario type things. Because it accomplishes the same thing, brings you back to where you actually are.
All right. Thank you, Logan. No problem. Just you're a cool teacher being his cool self. All right. Things will be all right. Even though Rico's views weren't all right, they are now. And sure, this complicates my feelings about him, but, you know, I'll adjust. Just like he had to. Well, kind of. But still, if anyone can understand that sometimes people need time to come around, it's him. He's all right by me. Things will be all right between us. Because we're still friends. At least as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, just...
Before Roman says that, I am going to point out specifically that issues with friends and losing friends in particular has historically in the canon of Sandersides been a major trigger for Virgil. It's something that terrifies him. And friends are extremely important to him, and he values them a lot, and things that hurt his friendships and Thomas's friendships are like some of the worst things he can imagine ever happening. It's a major trigger for him. So, which also brings up, like, in conversations like this in a system, when somebody is triggered by it and other people either aren't or are triggered by it differently or have different types of responses to that trigger, it can be hard to like talk calmly and agree on anything and stuff like that, because it's deeply emotional, but it also, I find in a lot of cases that triggers make us more likely to have like black and white thinking in a lot of ways, of like, this thing is triggering me, so it is 100% absolutely bad. It's like one of the worst things that could possibly happen, and nothing else is, like, any other potential consequences in order to make this thing not happen are worth it. Like, it can lead to really extreme thinking of like, nothing matters more than making this one bad thing not happen. Which is the type of thinking that can lead to certain types of like persecutor behaviors, even of like, it doesn't matter if I'm hurting someone, I'm preventing something worse. It doesn't matter, like, whatever thing I'm doing that you don't like, I'm preventing something worse. And specifically using grounding tools would also be helpful in a context like that, to try to have those conversations more like rationally and less emotionally when possible, you know? Not that emotions aren't a part of it and aren't like even an important part of it, but to that extreme they can certainly affect decision making a lot, and not always in helpful ways. So yeah.
Take it from Frozen's most inspirational song, Fixer-Upper. People make bad choices when they're mad or scared or stressed. Throw a little love their way, and you'll bring out their best. Thank you, Roman. That's barely applicable.
Elsa, we the villagers have thought it over, and with no discussion whatsoever, we've decided we're not scared anymore, and ice magic is actually cool as hell.
So, Elsa's power set includes freezing water, freezing objects, creating ice and snow from nothing, instantly creating anything she can imagine out of ice, poison ice blast that slowly kill you, giving life to snow and or ice, erasing fabric from existence, creating fabric from ice, I guess, melting snow and ice, telekinetic manipulation of frozen water, creating an eternal winter, creating an eternal mini winter snow cloud that can follow a subject around wherever they go, and reviving dead flora.
Yeah, all checks out.
With Elsa's seemingly unstoppable ice powers, I'd imagine Arendelle becomes a global superpower. No military force at that time could ever stand a chance against her never-ending army of ice golems.
Oh, I get it. You shouldn't trust an open door. True love is a closed door that eventually is opened up to you.
I can assure you that no one was thinking that when they made this movie, Patton.
It's too bad we didn't go to that
I like
party.
it though.
What if your soulmate was there? And now you're never gonna get another chance to meet him.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Okay. Watching a film is clearly too passive of an...
What Logan's saying is important, but that is a really good example of something in this situation triggered Virgil to say something that triggered Roman, and it like started spiraling because of that, which is another thing that can happen in conversations like that in systems, and is not fun.
An exercise to allay Thomas's troubled thoughts. I think we need a more active distraction that Thomas can really think about and focus on.
Should we vote on what we're gonna do next?
Oh, I was looking for this. Don't touch my shit.
Well, I was gonna rig the vote anyway, so I can just let you all know that we're gonna rewrite Frozen 1!
Oh, are we going to amend the inconsistencies in the internal logic of the original film?
No. Yes. I don't know what you're asking. We're gonna make it better!
But I thought you said it was an instant classic.
Instant classic doesn't mean flawless flick.
Yeah, it's true. Those two phrases are not synonymous.
Here's my take. Olaf fully melts by the fire while accompanying a dying Anna, which does qualify as an act of true love. Then, Anna must rescue Elsa from Hans, who gets a proper Disney villain song, maybe a reprise of Love is an Open Door, called, I'm spitballing here, Love is an Open Wound. Then, once Hans is defeated and the sisters are reunited, we learn that Olaf had so much love for Anna
Anna because he was Elsa's creation. In other words, Olaf was imbued with Elsa's sisterly love for Anna.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not my kind of fan fiction. I'm going to bed. In the buff.
Oh, and then since Elsa can create life, she can resurrect Olaf from the puddle.
But would bringing Olaf back lessen the weight and impact of his sacrifice? Maybe Olaf the Puddle Man has already evaporated by the time they make it back to him.
I see your point, Virgil, but how about this? Nobody dies, especially not cute little snowmen.
What is up, everybody? Do you like the holiday season? Do you like sandicides?
You like the idea of no sandicides sweater?
This is technically also an ad, but it's an ad for Thomas's merch, so I'm more okay with including it because his merch is great.
I would say there was definitely some similarities to system stuff, but the reason I didn't talk as much is because it just didn't feel as much like a system thing this time.
Yeah.
And all I'm thinking the entire time is our system is never that quiet. Persecutors are way louder.
Yeah.
And they would have been pointing it out. Like, it would have been 20 Virgils all talking at the same time kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just gets so loud whenever we do shit like that. And it clicked at the end that the reason is because the movie was not interactive enough. Like, it wasn't a good idea because there was too much quiet noise type stuff.
Yeah.
But
we have definitely found that certain types of passive distractions like that are not enough for certain types of things. And there are things we can add to it that make it better. Like if we play a semi-mindless game and watch something at the same time, that can make a big difference. Or watching something with someone can already make a big difference. Because then there's conversation involved and seeing how people react to the thing and stuff. Talking about it. But also there are times where we just need something more completely active than that, which is part of what is actually helping us so far with doing more content now that we're trying to do, like, aggressively more content. It is helping us some because I think we had enough time to, like, rest and recover basically from school and stuff, and we're at a point now where we, like, even just for our own mental health and stuff, need to spend more time actively doing more things like this. So I think that balance can sometimes be hard to find, and it involves a lot of checking in with yourself and being like, am I just doing this by default because I'm struggling and I associate this with being helpful, or is it actually helping me? You know? But yeah, a lot of the Sanders asides probably won't get into as much, like, directly system-related concepts, because they're much, much less plot-focused. It's less of introducing characters, less, like, character development and stuff like that. But also, even the stuff that is, like, comparable to system-related things, it's not always going to, like, in fact, it's rarely going to fit every system, you know? Like the stuff you were saying of it would never be that quiet for your system if you were trying to talk through something like that. There are a lot of situations where the same type of thing would look very different from system to system. And that's okay. Systems can be very different from each other. And altars can be very different from each other, and, like, I'm sure there are systems that don't have persecutors. I can't really imagine what that would be like, but I'm sure it exists. And there are systems that, like, have one or a couple persecutors, but then they, like, recover enough over time to stop being persecutors. And that's a little easier for me to imagine because we have alters in our system who are like ex-persecutors or recovering persecutors. We have both of those categories. But like, it's gonna look different for different systems for sure. But like, this is totally a thing that could happen. And another thing I could throw out there is having a bunch of people around the front while watching a movie or some equivalent to that is something we do have a lot of experience with. So if there's a game or a movie or a show or something that a lot of us are excited about, it will pull a lot of people close to front to see what's going on. So, yeah. And then there'll be just little bits of input from a bunch of different people at various points, arguing about the plot and the characters and stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna end card. Unless you have more thoughts. Oh, wait, there's oh, it's not even over. There's still probably an end screen. Hold on.
You just do it. Do you like the idea of new Sanderside's holiday sweaters, including Darkside sweaters? Well, good, because that's what you're getting. Am I going to use my real voice at all of this? And also scarves to go with the sweaters. You can get them all, or some, or none, at shopthomassanders.com. Did you like this video? We were attempting to make a slightly simpler Sanderside series that wasn't directly tied to the main narrative, so that we can hopefully give you Sanderside's content more frequently. Hopefully. We'll see. Do you like it though? You want to see more of it? Please comment down below if you do. Also, if you want to share some other distraction techniques that you use whenever you need it, that would be amazing. That is it, and until next time, take it easy, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Peace out! Alright, that was great. Good. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ever said those things about you.
Okay. So one thing I would definitely like your guys' thoughts on in comments or on Discord or anywhere else you find convenient is if you want us to keep reacting to the Sanders asides, or if you would rather us do just the main episodes first at least, and then if we are like waiting on, if we've done all the main episodes and we're waiting for new ones, we could do the asides then, in order to not have any reactions for a while. But we would love your thoughts on that. We also still have some of the earlier episodes to go back to when we get to that point, when we're caught up enough that we're waiting on new episodes. We will be able to go back to some of the ones that we skipped that didn't feel as relevant to DID when we were first going through it, because we were excited for a lot of the later ones. But we will probably go back to those if you guys want us to. So we would love your thoughts on that. But otherwise, thank you as always to our patrons. You guys are super awesome and help us so much. And the link if you want to become a patron or check out our perks is in the description, along with our Etsy shop and our Discord server and our wish list and other stuff probably. And I'll put links on the screen for the playlist of all of our Sanderside's reactions and the link to the original video that we just reacted to, so you can go watch it if you want and support Thomas Sanders as well. He makes awesome content. Oh, also make sure to like the video if you liked it, and to subscribe and ring the bell and stuff to make sure you see all of our future ones and help us meet our next subscriber goal so we can do another compilation video to celebrate. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!